All right, let's finish talking about the human population. This is going to finish off your human population Cornell notes. First big thing, age structured diagrams. These are the population pyramids that you worked with in class on the Power of Pyramids assignment. The gist of it is, as you saw on that assignment, it shows a country's distribution of males and females in different age groups. So, this one, I like this type a lot because it shows you by the different colors. You have your post reproductive, so 45 and up, your reproductive age group, which is 15 to 44, and your pre reproductive, which is 0 to 14 down here. So a country's growth rate can be four options: rapid, slow, zero, or negative. And I'm going to show you some pictures on the next slide. But the big thing to remember here is that the people in this blue area, the pre reproductive, that is the biggest factor in determining a country's future population growth because these youngins right here are going to be the next crop of reproducing humans. So, like I said, here's rapid growth. You can see that a lot of young age group, they're going to grow up to be reproductive age in the middle. And if you can imagine this lump of population right here are going to go through this pyramid as they age, because remember, this is getting older as you go up. So that is what a rapid growth would look like. This one right here, you can see that the bottom is still bigger, so you're still going to have more reproductive humans coming up through the ranks, but it's slower, you can see. I've got examples down here too, so make sure to jot those down. Here's zero growth. They're basically staying the same, as you can see here. And negative growth, it starts to get smaller. So there are less and less people of reproductive age coming into this population more and more. Here are all of the developed countries in the entire world on one population pyramid. As you can see, the majority, it looks like right here in the reproductive age, but it does look like it's decreasing a little bit. If not, maybe the same, definitely not growing. Take a look at developing countries, though, and you'll see that, whoa, it is definitely increasing. Way more reproductive age right here, way more pre reproductive that are going to be reproductive later down here. So, all of the developing countries, their populations are booming. Fertility means how good you are at having children. So there are two different things that you're going to see on the test. One is replacement level fertility, which is the amount of children that need to be had to replace the parents. And you would typically think that it would just be two, right? One mom, one dad, two kids to replace them. But in fact, when you factor in the averages of some couples don't have kids, not everyone has a child to replace them, it's usually a little bit above two. 2.1 in developed, 2.5 in developing. And then you've got your total fertility rate. I'm going to call it TFR from now on. That is the actual average number of children a woman usually has. So if you take a look at these, here's the TFR for different countries. If you look at it, red is way back in the day, 1950, and yellow is fresh off the press, 2016. The entire world up here, you have it went from 5 children per woman down to 2.8. So it looks like it's less. So that's a good sign, I guess. Developed also went down. Developing went down. Look how much developing countries were influencing, though. 6.5 children per woman. That's a lot of kids. And then if you look at these numbers, most of them are going down from 1950 to now. You might think that, oh, wow, the population of the world is going down. But if you think about it, this is just the amount of children per woman. So as the population keeps booming, increasing in the entire world, you don't necessarily have to have more children per woman for the population to increase. All right, so talking about the USA, there was something you probably heard called the baby boom. So after World War II, everyone came back from the war, everyone was happy, everyone was a little too happy, and a lot of babies were born. Ever since that baby boom, though, there has been a general decline in the US population. Right now, the population is around 319 million. Um, and the population, even though it's declining, the US is still growing, mostly because of people moving into the country. All right, so this is just a graphic showing you the baby boom. So here is births per woman. This could be your TFR. And it was dipping down, dipping down, dipping down. World War II, hello. And then it's pretty much gone down for the most part since then. Okay, here is a huge list of factors affecting birth rates. All of them are important. All of them affect how many babies are being born. I would suggest pausing this and jotting these down because all of these are fair game for the test. If any of these don't make sense to you, please put a star next to it or circle it or something so that you can ask next time that you're in class and we can talk about it as a class. Here are factors that affect death rates. Things are pretty straightforward. Take a second, pause that, jot those down too. Was I going too fast? You didn't pause? Go back and pause it. All right, here are some indicators of a country's health. So a couple of things. Life expectancy and infant mortality rate. So how long you're expected to live and what is the normal amount of babies that are not going to make it until their first birthday. So life expectancy. Developed countries, it's about 76 years old. That's pretty much what you guys are expected to live to. If you live past 76, you're in the money. In developing countries, notice it is a little bit shorter at 65, and especially in Africa as a country, as a continent, sorry, the average is a little under 49 years. That's usually due to things like AIDS and other diseases. So on to infant mortality rate. This is the amount of babies out of every 1,000 born that die before their first birthday. So pretty sad, but it happens. In developed countries, it is really low at 7 out of every 1,000. That's some pretty good odds for developed countries. But in developing countries, it is up to 61 out of 1,000. So that's still pretty good odds, 61 out of 1,000. You have good chances of making it. But I mean, if you compare the two, that's night and day. All right, so some things you might be thinking after looking at some of these numbers. Our population is skyrocketing on this planet. What in the world can we do to control this population growth? Here's a giant list of things that we can do. Some of them have been done. Some of them are being done right now in the US. You read an article on China's two-child rule. I thought it was pretty interesting. That is a government regulation that could control population growth. And a lot of these things are good ideas. So take a minute, jot these down. Same thing, if any of them, if you are writing it down and you don't completely understand how it could control population growth, star it, circle it, make sure that you bring it to my attention or your classmates' attention next time you're in class and we can talk about it. So that is it. Kept it under 9 minutes. Have a good Thanksgiving, and I will see you after the break.